TJ the Wheel Deal coming at you live. It is Monday, April the 21st, 10 a.m. Central Time, Texas time. Going to get into it today. Made a couple of moves in the portfolio early, may look to make some more moves. I kind of want to talk to y'all with where I'm trying to go with the portfolio. This has been a game plan that I've been trying to implement for a year and a half, probably more. And I feel like the market is finally cooperating. It is finally cooperating with my goals and my objectives to make this portfolio predominantly all about Tesla. All about Tesla. I just need Tesla to crash. That's what I need to happen in order for me to be able to execute this game plan. And not just on the big account, but on the small account, the intermediate account, and any other account. I want the portfolios to be predominantly Tesla because if Tesla could go to $175 a share, I believe that it is by far and away the best risk reward in the market over the last 5 years and probably for the next 5 years, if not more. So that is kind of the game plan in a nutshell. I hope you guys had an amazing Easter. For the believers, that's we celebrate the resurrection, and it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Christ was crucified on the third day. He rose, and that's the basis of our faith. And I stirred up a little bit of controversy on X, so we're going to talk about that first, right? So let me go here and hit present, share the screen. And let's talk a little bit about my X page, if you will. TJ the Wheel Deal at TJ the Wheel Deal on X. If you guys aren't following me over there, I don't take X very seriously. I post all kinds of stuff. So it's right here. So we've got a bunch of them, So here it is. We're live here, so might as well go ahead and like us. Live in 5. Da-da-da-da. So here we go. Here's one of them. What's your move if Tesla were to appoint a new CEO during earnings? Buy more, sell some, sell all, wait and see. So this would be kind of like the hold. And it seems like that's the one that won out. It's people would be, kind of holding, waiting to see, etc. And there's one though. There's one here that I really want to show you guys. I want one of those right there. It's a little hot dog machine. That one in the popcorn machine in the theater room in the new house. Must have. Absolutely must have. So I made fun of white, and I didn't make fun of white Jesus, but I was just like saying it's not really accurate. But Jesus didn't look like this white dude. Come on, Mel, do better. Mel Gibson. A simple yes or no. Do you believe in the resurrection of Jesus? And then he's got this little white caricature here, which is just ridiculous. So anyway, this is it right here. Is I want to know what my X feed believes. Is Jesus the Messiah? Absolutely no way. Not really sure. Just want the Easter bunny. And 68.8% of my X feed, or the 330 people that so far have voted on here, are on the absolutely category. There's 10% not really sure, 7% no way, and there's 30% that just want the Easter bunny. Then I've got another one here. I don't know if y'all have any, if you're eating tamales. These are chicken tamales. My gosh, with Whataburger ketchup. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So anyway, this was Roy Crossroads. And he wrote this big old post on, on Easter, if you will. And he's a former atheist. He is currently a pastor. Actually, he's actually a pastor at a church. And he wrote a real cool, summary there, if you will. I'd highly recommend it. Crossroads on X, cross_roads. And I added a little bit to it, and it got a lot of traction. So I go, wise words from a great man. Three quick Bible verses I'd point you to are John 3:16, John 14:6, and Romans 10:9. Romans 10:9. It's Romans, I forgot the S. The Bible is a concoction or a collection of 66 books written by about 40 authors over the span of about 1,500 years, guys. And I always tell people, instead of focusing on figuring out how it might have happened, try to find evidence that it didn't. Trying to find out Jesus isn't 100% the Son of Man and God simultaneously is the fastest way you become a believer, in my honest opinion. Watch the movie The Case for Christ, Take Care and God Bless. And then people started chiming in. People wanted to have debates and all of that stuff. And, I was saved when I was 17, so I don't really have those debates anymore, if you will. I'm just not at that stage in my spiritual walk anymore, to where I feel the need to explain to you why I believe what I choose to believe. So I always tell people I don't like to engage in those types of circular debates where at the end of the day, you're going to choose to believe whatever you want to believe, whatever helps you sleep at night. And I'm set in my belief. So my belief is not a negotiation. It's like, to me, the Bible, the gospel isn't a debate, it's a declaration. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. That's what I believe. My faith is not a feeling, it's a choice. So I don't have those debates. And then the thing that you can do to trigger people that want to debate is tell them that you won't engage in a debate, because they'll just keep probing and probing and probing because they're incomplete inside. They're incomplete inside and they want anything to grasp onto. They want to try to create, they want to sow any seeds of doubt. And I will never entertain a non-believer. And I would not be a good pastor because I'm not in the convincing business. I don't like sell the gospel and tell the gospel and share it with my friends and family and all that stuff. I mean, they know that I'm a believer. If they want to talk, let's talk. But I'm not out there like a little Jehovah's Witness, riding my bike like a Mormon and going from house to house to house. Like, I don't do that stuff. I believe that, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And nobody comes to the Father except through the Son, right? That's what it says in John 14:6. So to me, it's like game over. If you don't buy into that, don't even bother cracking the book. You're wasting your time. And that's just the way that I feel. And I sleep like this, like I'm good. I'm good. If whatever you're doing works for you and you're good, well, good for you. And that's it. But don't come to me trying to convince me, because who are you trying to convince? Yourself? Because I'm already convinced. I'm good. I'm good. I live with my decisions. I push my buttons, live with the results, right? It's the same thing as we do here in the stocks. Same thing as we do here in the options. So that's a decision that everybody has to make. It's a unique decision to you. It's an individual decision to you, and you have to make it, and you're going to have to live with those results, whether they are favorable or not, for an eternity. To me, I chose to believe because that was a risk that I just wasn't willing to take. Like, to me, not believing takes more faith than to believe. So I'm just like, dude, I mean, good on you if you think that you got a different way. Good for you, man. I hope it works out for you. I don't, it's one of those things that I'm like a cool Christian from the standpoint that I don't want to be right and you be wrong. I hope that there's something else somehow for you, but I don't think there is. I don't think there is. So it kind of sucks for you. But hopefully we all have a chance. We figure it out and we'll see what happens. I think that we have an amazing God. He's full of grace, and we'll see how it goes. Another thing, I was raised Catholic. I'm not Catholic now, but Pope Francis did die at the age of 88. Hopefully he was good. Hopefully he was good with God. Hopefully he was saved. And I know he had a real high post and stuff, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. That's not like a shorthand to get to heaven, right? So anyway, hopefully all is good with him, and I'm sure they'll appoint somebody else. It'll be a real big deal. They'll probably interrupt your regularly scheduled program whenever they appoint another pope, and it'll be like a real big deal. Anyway, Hope y'all got a bunch of Easter eggs. I hope y'all cracks we call them in Spanish cascarones, the little confetti on your head. And it was a good time. It was a good time. It's an excuse to eat a bunch of food, hang out with your family. Really, really awesome. Let's get on with it, guys. Let's get on with it. So how do I got to do it here? Share the screen. We're going to start with the Excel sheet. And I've got it on like 170%. So give me a thumbs up if you can see that pretty clearly. And I'm going to go through these positions real quickly. This is on the bigger account. So Amazon, we got a cover call at 200 for 516. This was at 210. Rolled it down. On CleanSpark, got 2,000 cash secured puts at $6. Got 250 covered calls at $8 and 2,000 covered calls at $10, all for 516. Everything's kind of out of the money right now. So we're good there. I'm probably okay letting those shares go at $8, the 25,000 shares that we have on CleanSpark. We'll see. I reserve the right to change my mind. Enphase running the cover strangle on Enphase. Got cash secured puts at 45 and covered calls at 65. So this is not a covered strangle. This is a short strangle because I don't own any of those shares. So if Enphase goes down, I'm going to roll the cash secured puts down and the covered calls down. If Enphase goes up, I'm going to roll the cash secured put up and the covered call up. So we're just kind of playing a little game of seesaw. That's it. That's all we're doing for 516. HIMS. Same thing, short strangle. Cash secured put is sitting at 22. The cover call is sitting at 39. The shares are sitting at 25.55. Collected some pretty good money there, all for 516 again. HIMS tanked. We're going to lower the cash secured puts, bring in some more credits, lower the cover calls to bring in some more credits. If HIMS goes on a tear, we're going to increase the cash secured puts to bring in more credits, and we're going to increase the strike price on the covered calls because we obviously can't deliver shares that we don't own, right? So that's kind of the danger there of the short strangle is you have to manage these positions. Same thing on Hood, another short strangle. Cash secured put is sitting at 37. The cover call is sitting at 50. And the current share price is 40.23. Now, I look for delta neutral strategies here. What does that mean? I want the delta on the cash secured put and the cover call to be about the same. Why? Because I want to be able to collect about the same amount of theta on both sides. And if one works, because if the cash secured put, like if the stock goes down, the cash secured put's going to get under pressure. So the money that I'm losing on the cash secured put side is about the money that I want to be making on the cover call. If the share goes up, the cash secured put's going to be printing, but the cover call is going to be under pressure. So the amount that I'm losing on the cover call, I want to be making it up with the money that I'm making on the cash secured put. That's why you want to be delta neutral. That makes sense. Marathon, this is a little bit different. This is a covered strangle because I own the shares. So it's 200 contracts at 11 on the cash secured put side, $14 on the covered call. There's a lot less pressure to manage the cover call when you own the shares because you can just let the damn shares get called away and you're good. On a short strangle, you don't really have that luxury because you can't deliver shares you don't own yet. So there's that. NVIDIA, another short strangle. We've got the cash secured puts at 85 and the covered calls at 110 for 516. The cover call was sitting at 120, but there's been pressure on NVIDIA to the downside. So I left the cash secured put where it was, but I brought in more credits rolling down from 120 to 110 so I could pick up some more deltas on NVIDIA on the cover call side. Riot got a little bit of a covered strangle, but also a short strangle going. So we got cash secured puts at 7, 1,000 contracts. Those are in the money, $700,000 worth. Then we've got cover calls at 10, 1,500 of those. And that's because we own 150,000 shares of Riot. And then we also have 100 calls. These are for June. The cash secured puts are for June. And then the naked calls or the short call side is for June as well at $10. But then on the covered call side, those are for May the 16th. And on SoFi, we got cash secured puts at 10, and then we got the leaps at 15, and we don't currently have any open covered calls on SoFi. Tesla, what's going on with Tesla? The backstop trades at 175 and 200 in the distance in January. Tesla is obviously at 224 and some change, so there's a little bit of pressure on those, but they're out in the distance, so not really that big of a deal. And then I've got the cover calls for the 6,500 shares at 255 for this Friday. And then I've got these are for five. Yeah, for this Friday, I've got them at 255. That's naked calls at 270 for this Friday. And then I've got some naked calls at 275 for 516. So I put on some more naked calls on Tesla because I need to bring some credits to the door because we're getting hammered on that position. And then on TSLL, got cash secure puts at $5, 500 contracts for 50,000 shares. And I'm going to buy more shares of TSLL. And then I've got all the shares for sale at $10 for 516. Picked up a lot of credits. Total premiums collected is 1.6, but there's some rolls involved. Total net premiums on according to the Tasty Trade app is $1,083,994 and some change. So that's what's going on with that. Then I look at the open shares. There's 6,500 shares of Tesla, down on those. 50,000 shares of TSLL, down 48,000 on those. 10,000 shares of Amazon, down 361,000 on those. Riot, 150,000 shares, down 297,000 on those. Up 15,375 on CleanSpark. Up $6,600 on Marathon. So that is what's going on with the portfolio in a nutshell. Now let me talk to you guys. I appreciate the 44 people rocking with me on YouTube. I know that Amit was still on whenever I came on, so I appreciate you guys watching. And then the 575 people that have seen the link on X, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You have to do me a favor, smash the like, put y'all's questions up. We'll treat this like a little mini episode of Wheelers. I'll even put the link in the chat right now. If anybody wants to come and shoot the proverbial shit, that'd be cool too. We could do that also. So there is that. And then I will check in with you guys. G-Man, what's going on? T. Billion, what's up? TJ, hope you and your family doing great. We are doing well. Tamales and ketchup, I'm telling you, man. It's good. It's good. Yippee Hank, what's going on? Alex, what's going on? Shamu, what's going on? Minesh, Marcus, Yippee Hank. Here's the StreamYard. Is this what 22 was like? I just collected a lot of premiums in 2022, and I picked up a lot of shares. And then 23, 24 were great because the shares went up in price, but I collected more premiums in 22 than I did in 23 and 24. Why? Because when the stocks are cheaper, you have a lot of capital. It's easier to collect more premiums. You sell more contracts. And then there was also more volatility. So this has been a real good year so far for premium collection. The only thing that sucks is the valuation of the portfolio is down because when you only have 4 stocks, or really 3 now, if the stocks go down in value, well, the portfolio goes down in value. The stocks go up in value, the portfolio goes up in value. But what's always steady for me is the amount of premiums that I collect. I'm very, very clear on the objectives of the hamburger stand. Ever go into margin? No. On the little account, I did a little bit last year, just trying to maximize the money that I made. But on the big account, no. I use margin to sell cash secure puts, but I will not take ownership of shares on margin. I just feel like it is an absolute recipe for disaster. So that's what's going on there. So now let me go to the actual portfolio. Go entire screen. So you guys should see kaleidoscope action. Let me put this way. There we go. Make it slightly bigger. So here is the portfolio down substantially today, 70,000. The intermediate portfolio down 11,800. On the small portfolio down $500. So let's start with a small portfolio. What's going on with a small portfolio? What are we looking to do? Let's look at the balance here. We got 6,000 in cash. We've got $10,940 in options buying power and 21,881 in stock buying power. So what are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish? We've got Riot, SoFi, and TSLL is a brand new position that I just brought in to the fold. So what's going on with Riot? Riot, there's 3,000 shares owned at 689, and it's currently trading at 657. So obviously down about $1,000 on those particular shares. I do have the shares for sale, 516 at $8, picked up 26 cents a share or $26 a contract. So picked up some money there, and we're just kind of waiting it out. We're waiting it out, being very, very aggressive on the covered calls because I need to bring money through the door. I'm not really shooting for a lot of capital appreciation right now. I'm more interested in the premiums because I feel like there's going to be downward pressure on the stocks for a little while. Now, obviously, Bitcoin did really well last night. Didn't really affect the miners that much. SoFi. What's going on with SoFi? We've got the poor man cover call campaign that we're running here. We've got 110 contracts at $20, 60 days out on the cover call side. And then we got the long calls that are absolutely getting decimated. 110 contracts at $20, 423 days out, down 50% on that. Absolutely no bueno. TSLL, brand new position today, picked up 200 shares at 664. It is currently at 658. So down, $10 on these. And then I immediately sold the cover calls on them to bring some money through the door. So this was a buy right strategy. And that's all that I have going on. I could potentially sell 2 cash secured puts on it as well. I feel like I do have enough money for that, but I'm just kind of waiting and seeing. So what's the idea? The idea is I want SoFi to pump. I'm hoping TSLL tanks, and I want to get out of the leaps on SoFi. And I want to have like 3,000 to 5,000 shares of TSLL, and I want to have the 3,000 shares of Riot, and I want to ride those up. I can look up, and I think this portfolio will easily be over 100,000 by the end of the year. That is how I'm looking to play it. I feel like SoFi has been great and made me good money in the other portfolio. So on Robinhood before we switched over here. But I feel like right now at these levels, especially if TSLL gets to like the $5 range, I just feel like I can make a lot more money faster on TSLL. And then I can move over some of those leaps over to TSLL. So TSLL tanks to like $5 because Tesla fell to like 175 or something like that, or 200, whatever needs to happen for this thing to get to the $4 or $5 range. I may consider taking a loss on SoFi, at least on half of those, and start by buying leaps on TSLL and then scooping up some shares on TSLL so I can sell aggressive cover calls against the shares. And if I get in trouble and I want to let the shares get called away, I'll just ride the leaps up to the promised land. So that is a move that I am definitely interested in making. So I would realize a loss there, which would help out with taxes, because then I could have free reign to go try to print money on TSLL, which is obviously the 2x leverage play on Tesla. But it's a trade because I'm not dealing with Tesla. TSLL is a trade. Tesla's an investment. Y'all need to be very, very clear on that, because these leverage plays, it seems like over time they do go down. So you have to be careful. Now let's look at the intermediate portfolio. What's going on here? Just 3 positions, Riot, SoFi, TSLL. Look familiar? Because that's the way that it's all going to look. On the big account, we might still have Tesla because, we can afford Tesla on the big account. Can afford it on this one too, but we're playing this one a little different. There's 5,000 shares of Riot owned in this particular account, about break even on the shares. And then there's 50 contracts at $6, cash secured puts, and we got 50 covered calls at $8. So playing it very, very aggressively for the premiums on TSLL. On SoFi, there's 400 covered calls at 15, 25 days out, 516. And then there's the backstop trade at $10, 200 contracts of those at $10, and those are doing not so well. And then surprisingly, though, on this one, the leaps are doing well. So there's 400 leaps at $15 on this one, and those are up 17.8%. So on this particular account, we had 33,000 shares of SoFi, sold the shares, bought the leaps, more capital efficient, and now we're sitting on $284,000 of options buying power, $569,000 of stock buying power. So what am I looking to do here? I want to get to like 25,000 shares of TSLL. When I want to write these things up to like 20, 25 bucks, I look up, portfolio is just absolutely crushing it. That's the game plan there. Now let's look at the bigger account. So what is going on here? We've got just getting absolutely slaughtered on a daily basis, down almost $400,000, down 3.3 year to date. Why? Because SoFi, Tesla, Amazon, and Riot are all down for the year in a really big way. We only had 4 holdings going into the year. So that is why the portfolio is down so much. It's really that simple. Let's go through that. Amazon. What's going on with Amazon? So what I'll do is let me there we go. So let's do that, and we'll open one at a time. So Amazon, what's going on? There's 10,000 shares owned at 203.15, and it's currently going for 166. So absolutely getting slaughtered, $366,000 to the no bueno on this position, and year to date down $500,000. That's what's going on with Amazon. Got cover calls of $200 for May the 16th. CleanSpark. What's going on with CleanSpark? This is the most profitable position of the year so far, up $66,000. There's 25,000 shares owned. The shares are making money. Then we got 2,000 cash secure puts at $6. Those are starting to print a little bit of money. And then we've got those shares for sale at $8. Those are also under some pressure because CleanSpark is at $7.75. So I'll have to make a decision there. And then I've also got running the short strangle here where I've got 2,000 cash secure puts at $6 for $5.16. And then I've got the shares that we don't even own for sale on the cover call side at $10. So I'll look to push these out here in a week or so. I'll look to push both of these out to June. And I might increase that strike price from 6 to 7. And then I may increase the strike price from like 10 to 11 or maybe even 12 on the call side and bring in a shitload of credits. That's the idea. And I just sold these today. So I'm already up $6,000 on these cover calls, if you will. So that part's good. Now let's look at one of the short strangles. In phase, we've got cash secured puts at 45. We got cover calls at 65, guys. So now let's look at whether or not it's a delta neutral strategy. So we go over here, we click on it, and we start with the cash secured puts right here. I'm going to highlight the sell. And we go over here to the far right, and you see delta at negative 25. And then we go to the cover call side, and you see delta at 20. So not bad. So pretty delta neutral there. Now let's look at HIMS. HIMS is trading at 25.46. We got cash secured puts at 22, cover calls at 35. And you guys will see they're down 21% on the cash secured put, but up 25% on the cover call. So just looking at that, we already know that that's pretty delta neutral. So I don't want to get too aggressive and lower the cover calls to like 30 to try to bring in more credits because, him spikes up, then now I'm going to be on a bind on another way. Whenever I'm running the short strangle, guys, I would much rather be babysitting the cash secured put side of things than the cover call side of things. That's just more comfortable for me. Hood, another short strangle, cash secured puts at 37 and cover calls at 50. And this thing here, we're down on both of them. We're up today on the cover call side of things at 475, but getting hammered on the cash secured put side down 925, but down on both of them collectively. That's a little bit unique there. Marathon is doing much better. This is one of the better performing positions, a brand new position into the portfolio, just came on last week. There's 20,000 shares at 1242, currently trading at 1280, so up on the shares. Y'all can see that being patient buying this dip has really helped out because CleanSpot and Marathon are really in pretty good spots, and I just picked these shares up. So, not saying that I picked the bottom or anything like that. I'm just saying that I'm very fortunate that I was pretty patient and there was plenty of ammunition and firepower so I could take advantage of this dip when everything's got very, very attractive to me. So there is a short coverage strangle going on here because we actually own these shares. So the Marathon position is a little bit different in that regard. So we've got the cash secured put at 11, 200 contracts for 516. And then we've got the covered calls at 14 for 516. And we obviously have the 20,000 shares of Marathon. NVIDIA, another short strangle at 85 and 110. This cover call was sitting at 120. I moved it down today to 110 to pick up some more credits. And that one is doing pretty well. And I'm kind of excited about potentially owning some NVIDIA shares at 85 bucks. So this is one where I'm kind of like pushing for NVIDIA to go down a little bit because then I could really take advantage of it. And remember, I took a bath recently on SOXL, and SOXL has come down since. So I'm just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting. In another 2 or 3 weeks, if this thing's still trading there, I might be able to put SOXL back on in a real big way. So that one's just kind of really working out for us as well. Riot, what's going on with Riot? There's 150,000 shares, obviously getting absolutely annihilated on the shares to the tune of $300,000. Drawdown of $514 since the year started on Riot. And then we've got the covered calls at 10 bucks for 516. We've got cash secured puts at $7 for June the 20th that are in the money. 1,000 contracts, so that's a $700,000 obligation that we'd have to buy some more shares of Riot if we needed, if they expired in the money. And I'm also run the short strangle there where I've got the shares for sale at $10 as well. So that's what's going on with Riot. SoFi, we're just, we got the backstop trade, cash secured puts, 2,500 of those at 10 bucks. Those are still doing okay, up 11%. And then we've got the leaps. So bought 3,000 leaps, down 10% on those, not too bad. Tesla, what's going on with Tesla? So there's 6,500 shares getting absolutely pummeled, down $250,000 on the shares, almost a $9 million drawdown on Tesla since the beginning of the year, because Tesla was a high flyer right in December and then started crashing January, February, March, April. Here we are. And then I was like, well, let me sell some calls against this thing. I've already made like $300,000 on naked calls. So now I'm trying to go for more money. So I've got, these are technically covered calls because we have 6,500 shares. So got covered calls at $255 for this Friday. And I've got naked calls at $270 for this Friday. And then I've got naked calls for 516 at $275. So I'll be babysitting these. I'm hoping these kind of get under pressure because then that means that the position is recovering. But if they don't, then this positions will keep printing. And I'll be okay with that because there's a lot of firepower here to go buy more shares of Tesla. I definitely want to get to at least 10,000 shares of Tesla. And I like to buy those shares at about 200 bucks. So we'll see what happens. And then I got the backstop trades. 235 contracts at 175 and at 200 respectively for January. Got paid a shitload of money. I don't think Tesla will be anywhere near these levels by January, guys. I think that all the bad news will be priced in. It'll start matriculating up. I've got a $400 to $500 price tag on Tesla by the end of the year. That's why I'm aggressively trying to add to these positions here. TSLL, 50,000 shares at 755. It's currently trading at 662. And I've got 500 cash secure puts at $5 for May the 16th. 500 cover calls at $10 for May the 16th. So that is what's going on with the portfolios in a nutshell. Let me catch up with you guys. And let's do a little Q&A if you guys are interested. So where are we at here? You have no why using one of your why would using not be it's not about safety, it's about just my comfort levels. And also you got to really start, you got to study these things, right? And people blurt things out, but I'm going to like encourage y'all to think before you blurt things out. So Yankee Doodle, I'm going to challenge you here a little bit. I'm going to challenge you here a little bit. So I want you to learn how to read the room, right? I want you to learn how to read these things right here before you blurt shit out, because we're going to look at collateral here for a second. So let's look at collateral here for a second. So the collateral is not showing up. Here we go. Look at that collateral. $14 million. So if everything were to expire into money, all the short strangles, everything went against us, there's $14 million, 267,500 of stocks that we got to buy. So think about that number for a second. Now we're going to go over and we're going to remove that, and we're going to hit present. Top screen, present, share screen. So remember that number, 14 million, right? And now we're going to go over here to the balance. How much brokerage cash is there? 5.379. 5.379. So we're using a lot of margin potentially to sell cash secured puts. Now, the beautiful thing about this is we're not on the hook to pay any interest on these shares. They're not owned yet, but we have an obligation to buy a lot of shares on margin right now. So obviously I want to be able to close out some of these for the win. And the beautiful thing is the only thing that we have that's in the money is the Riot cash secured puts. But imagine if Clean Spark was in the money. Imagine if Enphase was in the money. HIMS was in the money. Hood was in the money. Marathon was in the money. Because these are all cash secured puts that we have, right? Even though the short strangles are still cash secured puts. The Riot, the SoFi in the distance, all the Teslas in the money, all the TSLs in the money. I mean, we'd definitely be using margin unless I closed out some cash secured puts for a bloodbath, if you will. So I'm just playing it. I'm playing it aggressively, but I'm also playing within the confines of what's comfortable for me, if that makes sense. What's going on? Klein Tesla. Would you consider to take assignment of sold puts on margin and market drops 50%? Yes, up until the point of the broker's cash. We have about $5 million or so of shares that we're interested in owning at prices that make sense to us. Like, for instance, Tesla at 175. Yeah, sign me up. TSLO at $5. Sign me up. Riot at $7. I'm kind of okay with that one. I'm kind of okay with that one. I really like it better at 6. I like it better at 6, but at 7, I think that Bitcoin's going to go on a moonshot. So Riot would be a recipient of that. So yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. Looks like we have more people here today now, and I assume it's because our boy Mitt is no longer live. Welcome to the channel, guys. I'm selling right on. Good for you. Hey, what's going on, Angel? Happy Easter. Good morning, Doug's. What's going on, Maria? Good morning, Wheelers. What's your strategy on deciding what stocks to sell? But real good question. It really depends a lot on like sectors and companies that I'm interested in and stuff like that. I mean, it's just so hard to say because that is such a loaded question based on what are you interested in? That's what you should probably sell cash secured puts on. That is what you should sell cash secured puts on, is what you're interested in. I sell cash secured puts on stocks that I'm interested in, that I'm comfortable with. I learn about the money, what they got money, do they make money, that whole thing, what's their run rate, what's their cash flow, what's their cash burn, that kind of stuff. The sentiment, the management, do they have a moat? Those are the things that I look at. We just land where we land, right? Like, I'm a big fan of the whole Bitcoin thing. I love me some Tesla, love SoFi. The semiconductors, I'm dabbling, but I'm not real super excited about it yet, but the prices are getting very attractive. So I'm in there. I'm in there selling short strangles on NVIDIA. And I'm looking forward to being out of probation with SOXL so I could go load the freaking boat over there. That thing's trading at $5. Y'all are going to see 50, 100,000 shares real quick on SOXL. And I'll be selling aggressive covered calls because that's a hell of a rental. The premiums on those things are absolutely insane. But that's why when I do those leverage plays, guys, I'm very aggressive with the premiums, and I'm okay letting the shares get called away because I'm thankful to make money with those leverage plays because it's so easy to lose money. And I have so many friends in this industry that have had TSLL for a long time, and over long stretches of time, they always end up losing money. And they don't sell covered calls against their shares, and I'm like, dude, that's just crazy. I would not run those leverage plays and not be selling aggressive cover calls against them. Costas Lolos. Good morning. Nam Tran. TJ, do you sell cover calls below your cost basis? I try not to, but I have, and I'll just manage it accordingly. And obviously, I'll have to roll out and up because you don't want to be, buying low and having a cover call commitment or buying high and having a cover call commitment to sell low, because that's just not a good recipe. That's not a winning strategy. That's not a winning, that's not good to do. But at the same time, market conditions sometimes dictate that you take on risk that isn't optimal, if you will. Did you close? I did. I closed them at a loss, like over $250,000 loss. I'm looking forward to getting back in, but I wanted to lock in a loss because we had $2.2 million in Robinhood to the good, right? So I was kind of like trying to offset that. There was an opportunity there. And I've been really studying this Tesla play, and I just wanted to position the portfolio to make sure that we had the liquidity there, because I could see a world where we just have like 25,000 shares of Tesla, 250,000 shares of TSLL, and maybe keep the shares of Riot, and that's it. And then just make a shitload of premiums. So we'll, obviously Tesla would have to be like 150 for that to happen. So we'll see. I don't think that'll happen. How about the strike price? How do you decide on that? There's just so many factors, man. There's a seminar that I did 3 or 4 months ago, 5 months ago. It's 3 hours long. You got to go watch all that. I ain't got time to get into all that. There's so much to consider. There's moving averages, there's technicals, there's fundamentals, there's deltas. There's just a lot of shit. So there's a lot to go to. But once you're comfortable, then you can just kind of play in that 15 to 25 delta range and be okay. But it's not as easy as that. But eventually it gets there. Stoic Outdoors. Your 25, 25, 50 bullet strategy has really changed my cash secure put approach. Would you like? I would love SOXL at these levels, but I'm on probation. I'm on probation with SOXL. I had a lot of cash secure puts in that $15, $16, $17 range, $14 range, and I had to let those go. I did not think that SOXL was going to fall to these levels, full disclosure. I let those go because it was just the right thing to do for the portfolio at the time because of what I was trying to accomplish. Now I just kind of got lucky. I got lucky that NVIDIA and everything else is under pressure on the semiconductor side, obviously because of the tariffs and whatnot. So it just might have worked out for me, but that wasn't like on purpose. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to close all these puts for a loss, and then I'm going to be able to open them all back up cheaper, get all the premiums back that I gave back. So probably wipe out that loss real quickly and have better entry points on SOXL and look like an options god and act like it was all intentional. That's just not true. That's not how it happened. I'm getting lucky right now, but we don't know if it's still going to hold because I did this less than 2 weeks ago. In fact, I'm going to pull up the portfolio here as I'm talking to y'all. I'm going to go to the activity and I'm going to see when I did that. I'm going to say it was definitely within 14 days. No, it seems like it's been longer than that. Okay, let me see. Let me go 30 days. Let me see when. Here we go. SOXL. So it looks like I was doing this on 328. when I cleaned everything up, it was 320, no, 4-1. I still see stuff on 4-1. I mean, yeah, 4-1. No, there's more. 4-4. I still see SOXL on 4-4. Let me just put SOXL right here and it'll tell me SOXL. There we go. Yeah, so the last time I messed around with SOXL was on 4-4. So I still have to wait till 5-4, guys, or really probably like 5-5 or 5-6 just to be safe, because the last thing that I want is to create a wash cell. So I'll probably wait till like 5-5, 5-6 just to make sure that I'm indeed at that out of that window, because you get like a probationary period. Whereas if you lose money on a stock, you can't trade that stock or whatever for at least 30 days, or it'll be like, no, we know what you're doing. So the IRS isn't too keen on that kind of behavior. So I like to wait that extra day or two just to be like really, really safe. So I'll make a note here. I'm actually going to make a note here right now. So I'm going to say like 5-7. That would be my late daughter's birthday. So 5-7. SOXL is back in play. So I got that on here right there. 5-7. SOXL is back in play. Time's flying, guys. It's just a couple more weeks. We'll see what happens. I don't think this whole tariff thing is going to be done in like 2 weeks. So there will still be pressure on these stocks for sure, in my opinion. Where are we at here? Nice to hear you're a believer. Thanks for the encouragement. You're welcome. I learned a lot. Thank you, man. I'm glad you're getting value. Yo, Rich, what's going on? Morning. Go watch Charles Bronson and The Mechanic and go make money in these markets. Stay emotionless. Right on. Charles Bronson was that a? You're gonna think, because I feel like there was an actor named Charles Bronson back in the day, like Death Wish and stuff. But this might be something totally different. Showing my age there. I always wheel TSOL. Not a great, yeah, facts. Oh man, but this is definitely it's a good house flipper. What's going on, lurker? How do you approach taxes? Sometimes the head of these positions of the tax fit. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. You just got to pay. It's just like, how do you approach taxes at your job? You just pay them, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. This is a high paying job and you got to pay high taxes. Like, you can obviously try to do some things to minimize your taxes and whatnot, but I feel like the stock market, it's a very interesting vehicle because it's the business that, like, let's say it's a store, everything goes on sale, people run out the store. There's that one. And then if you want to look at it from like a business perspective of making money, this is the only business in the world where people want to make money, but they don't want to pay taxes. But in your job, you don't question it off. Just take it. Just take it. Just take it. But in this business, no, I don't want to pay taxes. So, I mean, it kind of means that you're making money, kind of means that you're making money if you're paying taxes, right? So it's one of those things. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of people that are like mentally challenged when it comes to the stock market. And it's really of no fault of your own or my own, because I feel like I'm definitely mentally challenged when it comes to the stock market as well. But it's just because we just don't learn it at a young age. It's not taught in school or anything like that. But imagine like some legit finance classes early on, like junior high and high school, where they like teach you the power of compound interest. They teach you the power of the rule 72 in the stock market. What dollar cost averaging really is, what value averaging is. Like, imagine if they taught selling cash secured puts and covered calls, like they introduced that kind of stuff to you in high school. Like, my goodness, like how dangerous could we be as a society, right? Like, actually, we'd have a bunch of lean, mean money machines, knowledgeable machines, but for whatever reasons that isn't prioritized. Parenting isn't prioritized. Like they'll give you like a little sex ed talk, and they'll just assume that you're not going to go out there and have sex and impregnate a girl or whatever the case may be. I'm like, why don't they like do some parenting classes? Like, hey, like, these are the stats. Dads become whatever. Men become dads at the age of 23, 24, whatever the age is for America, and these are the things you're going to need to set up for little juniorette, right? Like get them an educational IRA going. You can save for their college for like 50, $75 a month, $100 a month, and you start early. Like they could really empower you with knowledge. They could really, really empower you with knowledge. But that's why I'm like so against school sometimes in college, because I feel like all the shit they teach you is so freaking useless at the end of the day. Like I can't really think of one useful thing, like one truly, truly, truly useful thing that I learned in college. I can't think of one. I cannot think of one. It was a big party with a big cover charge. That's it. Everything else, as far as like learning how to manage, like make money, interpersonal skills, working with other people, and all that stuff. I kind of learned that in sports. I didn't really learn that in school per se. But I learned it like playing sports. Like it was important to be able to get along with people and have a common goal and work towards that common goal and all that stuff. But in the school and in the classroom and the curriculum, you didn't really learn that because you weren't really able to like take the class as a team, if you will. So it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. Um, I'm waiting until after earnings, Angel. I'm waiting until after earnings. I think the earnings are going to be really, really cool, really good. And it's also just a position that I don't feel like managing. And I had them on. I had them on. I locked in a nice profit. So now I'm just waiting on a bump. Anthony Noto put out some good stuff last week. So I'm just waiting to see if the market realizes it and catches up and stuff. And I'd like for SoFi to bounce like 10, 15%. And then I'll be happy to sell some more cover calls on SoFi. But a lot of it just has to do with just not wanting to have to manage so many damn positions because I already got like 4 or 5 short strangles on. So I want to see how all of those pan out because those are all cash traps. So I want to make sure that all of those pan out before I go and just start putting on, cover call for the sake of putting it on. And the portfolio is not hurting, right? From a cash perspective, there's over $5 million in cash. So an extra $10,000, $20,000, even though it's great, it's a lot of money. At the end of the day, it doesn't really move the needle anyway. So I don't want to. I want to do things when it's optimal, if that makes sense. And whenever the market's bleeding, I'm more concerned with what shares could I scoop up? Where's the optimal cash secured put side? Because there's downward pressure on the market. Obviously, the premiums are going to be juicy on the cash secured put side of things anyway. So hopefully that helps you out. So long-term and short-term gains plus loss, so make them work for you. Crazy world, agreed. Agreed. Hey, what's going on, Hans? Agreed. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all that I got. That is pretty much all that I got. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys had an awesome holiday weekend. What's going on for the rest of the week? We watching the market. We have Tesla earnings, I think tomorrow, right? I think Tesla earnings are tomorrow. I'm not sure if they're before the market or after the market. I'm not like that in tune. Uh, but I'll find out. I'll find out. And I didn't get to watch Amit's channel this morning because he covers all that stuff. I mean, Amit does a really awesome job of just like giving you the freaking lowdown on what's going on in the market. Like he puts a lot of work into that, man. A lot of work into that. So we definitely need to recognize that. I mean, this dude's live 5-6 hours a day. That's a lot. Thoughts on I'm in it at 6. No, I definitely hang on. I think I definitely hang on, dude. I mean, Nvidia bounces 10% in a day. Intel bounces 10-15% in a day. Taiwan Semi, Broadcom, Qualcomm, etc. They all have a good couple of days. Freaking SOXL will be at 10, 11, $12 in no time. So I definitely wouldn't recommend, if you will, not financial advice, right? Like it says on the bottom. But I definitely wouldn't recommend taking a bath on that stuff. Just sell covered calls, bring money through the door. If you have more money, this would probably be a real good time to start selling some cash secured puts on SOXL. I mean, if you guys are fortunate enough to not be bag holding already on SOXL, I mean, if not now, when? It's kind of like TSLL gets to the $6 range. If not now, when? I mean, these are the opportunities, guys. Like this is the one thing you gotta be able to brush aside the fact that your portfolio is probably down, because I'd say 90-95% of us are down for the year. But you gotta put that to the side, because what really is it? It's just, your handful of stocks are down. My handful of stocks are down. Okay, cool. They recovered. Then what? We all look good again? We're all good investors again? No. We just gotta ride. We gotta ride the tide at the end of the day. So what? Hold on. They're talking about Tesla real quick. 1 second. It will drop in deliveries for the first time. Really? I mean, they have had a year back. Oh yeah, this guy is talking about Tesla deliveries and all that stuff, but it's like they always just talk about Tesla, the car sales, and I'm like, that's just not the needle mover. That's not going to be the needle mover for Tesla too much longer. Like it's going to be the energy, it's going to be the robotics, the artificial intelligence. That's why people are investing in Tesla. They're not investing in Tesla because the freaking Model Y is the number one selling car in the world. That's not why people are investing in Tesla right now, in my opinion. New people, new money. They're getting in early on the robots. They're getting in early because the energy is turning into a monster segment for Tesla and things like that. So anyway, let me see. Mundo Juni is saying, thanks for all you do. Is it still a wash sell when rolling an option? Like if I rolled a position for a loss, but sell put again on the same ticker in a few days, I do not believe that it is, but I'm not 100% sure because I have so many wash sells on my taxes that I don't even understand at times. So I'm just not the best person for that. And then we can ask Google or artificial intelligence what a wash sell is, and it's real crystal clear on what they say it is, but I feel like it just doesn't. It's a little bit tougher for me on the option side of things. Like it's real obvious on the stock. You sell the stock at a loss, you can't buy it back within 30 days. Whenever you talk about rolling options and all that stuff, then it's a little bit more complicated. I'm just not the best source for that, so I don't want to misinform you. Yes, I don't have the 100% answer for you guys. If y'all could help them out in the chat, that'd be great. Hey, Maria. Hope everything's going well. Anyway, guys, I got to run. I've got some FaceTimes today. I want to go grab a workout. And one last thing I want to do is let's go back to Twitter. Let's go back to Twitter because I cannot believe this happened. Like, I cannot believe this happened. This person bet me $500 that I couldn't do 2 barbell dips. This is like dips. That's it. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was like. You're for real, for real. So this is it right here. So that where's so I don't know. That wasn't it though. But anyway, he paid me $500. He paid me $500, guys, for doing 2 dips. It was just the craziest thing ever. I couldn't believe it. I'm trying to find it for you guys. It's just, I mean, guys, doing 2 dips for me is pretty damn easy. Now, mind you, I don't have a dip machine, so I use my treadmill. But this gentleman paid me the $500, so I'm going to be giving out $50 to random folks. Yeah, I don't know what I did with it. I don't know. Oh, it's because of this right here. This is what started it. If you can't bench press your body weight once, you probably shouldn't even identify as a man. That's right, I said it. Get your weak ass in the gym. I was making a joke on the that's right, I said it, because that's something that Chris Rock says whenever he says controversial things on stage. I don't believe anything that I wrote here. I was just kind of being funny. Because this thing says only 1% of men can bench press their body weight 10 times. If you're not in the 99%, if you're in the 99%, get to work. I can bench press my body weight 10 times. So there's that. That's what started it. And then we got over here. I don't have a dip bar. And I did these, but I do have my treadmill. And he said that it wasn't qualified. It wasn't, they weren't good dips. So he didn't pay me for those, but then I did them over, and I'm just trying to find the actual video. Okay. People are crazy. I have it here on my phone. I'll just do it from my phone real quick. I just can. Here we go. Like what I said. This dude literally gave me $500 for this guy. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
So I've been working out a long time. Nobody's ever paid me $500 to do 2 dips. So anyway, shout out to that gentleman for talking his shit on Twitter and then owning it. And he tagged me on a comment. Of course, I just can't find it, saying that he apologized to me for not believing that I couldn't do the dips or whatever, and PayPal'd me $500. So I just thought that was just nuts. All of it was nuts. It was just crazy. So anyway, that's what was going on for my Easter weekend. Anyway, that is so true right there. I agree with that. They don't teach that kind of stuff in school, so you can't get out of the rat race. I 100% agree with that. Anyway, guys, I got to get rocking and rolling. TJ the Wheel Deal signing off. As always, from your Sky State Blue Stock screen. Peace out. God bless you guys.